Oh, you're here.
Got you.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Y'all good?
I feel artificially tall. All right, well, hey, welcome everybody to Utah Jazz Live. My name's Aaron with UtahJazz.com. We're here on John Stockton Drive, actually, West High School. Give yourself a round of applause. We've got people watching on UtahJazz.com and Facebook, and obviously we've got Donovan Mitchell and Ekpe Donovan of Utah Jazz. So, thanks so much for coming out, guys.
Thank you. Excited to be here. Yes, we are.
Ekpe, you guys are 4-0 in preseason right now. What's the feel at this point in training camp with one more game to go?
We're not there yet. We're just trying to continue to get better. We have one more preseason game Thursday night, and then it's that final stretch to get ready for a great year.
Donovan, this is not your first time at West, right? You've been to a football game?
I've been to a football game. I don't know if y'all, any of y'all were there. It was a long time ago, probably, well, a year ago.
What have you liked about kind of getting out into the community and seeing fans and seeing your new NBA home?
To be honest, I love it here. You know, y'all don't understand. I come from New York where, you know, it's busy, it's populated, it's noisy, it's loud. You know, to be here where it's quiet, you know, peaceful, laid back is something that I didn't know I needed until I got here. So it's pretty special. I love it.
Well, we took a bunch of questions from high school fans on Twitter and Instagram. We're going to take a couple of questions from our Facebook audience, I think, and also from our live audience as this goes on. So I guess we'll just jump right into it if you guys don't mind.
Let's get it.
All right, the first one is from Jevin J for Instagram, and this is for Ekpe. How did you keep yourself motivated through high school?
I knew I wanted to go to college, and basketball has always been a tool for me. And that was a way for me to get to college because my parents couldn't afford to send me to a D1 school. So by using that, I was able to make it to college, and here I am.
Donovan, I know you learned a lesson in motivation the hard way, something involving memorizing a speech, is that right?
Well, actually, I broke my wrist, too. That kind of humbled me for sure. You know, I was a good athlete, good baseball player. Great baseball player, I should say. I don't brag about much. I was great at baseball. But a good basketball player, and I was just kind of just not myself. And the injury kept me humble, and then I changed my work ethic, and it was night and day from after that.
We got a bunch of questions from aspiring basketball players. This one's from Mateo M on Instagram. With open gym and tryouts coming up, are there specific things you would recommend a young player to work on? Are there things that high school coaches are looking for?
To be honest, a lot of you guys, you know, a lot of basketball players in here, correct? Yeah. A lot of y'all think that, you know, shooting and scoring is it. Like, it's not. I couldn't shoot, and I couldn't score in high school, like, at all. All I could do was dunk and play defense. And I ended up, you know, doing really well and getting a bunch of offers. But, you know, that's the biggest thing. If you're the one that picks up full court, you know, let's say Ekpe is the best guard in the country, I'm making sure Ekpe doesn't score 10 points. Doesn't matter how many I score, as long as Ekpe is not scoring 10 points. So that was my biggest thing. Like, I couldn't shoot, wasn't gonna score on you, but I would make sure you weren't gonna score either.
I think Donovan's pretty much said it. I would say add to that, just doing all the small things in practice, diving on loose balls, running your sprints hard, actually paying attention to coach when he's talking, and being able to take what he says and translate it to the court or field or whatever sport you may play.
And this next question's from T. Creer, came from Twitter for Ekpe. What advice would you have on preparing for college for a high school senior?
Ooh. College was a good time. Yes, it was. I would say just be open to new experiences. Whenever you choose your college and you get there in the fall or in the summer, network. Because some of those people that you're walking around campus on are going to own their own companies or become the next, you know, actor or actress. So definitely network.
I would say for add on to that, but also if you do happen to get a scholarship or get a few offers, don't choose the school that is the biggest school or like choose the one that's right for you. Go somewhere you're needed, not where you want it. I think that's how I say it, right? That's all right. That's the biggest thing for me because there are a lot of people that I know that went to schools that they went because of the name and then they didn't see the floor at all. So, you know, now you're sitting there upset for 2 or 3 years, then you transfer and then it's all go somewhere where you're needed. You know, you look at the roster, do your homework, look at who they have coming, who they're recruiting, because college coaches will lie to you. Like they want to get everybody that they can. So make sure you're well informed when you go to a school. They'll say, well, I'm a shooting guard. Look, how many shooting guards you recruiting? And they'll tell you. But that's my biggest thing.
Actually, transitions into our next question from Preston H on Instagram. What was the school you wanted to go to when you were growing up?
Carolina. Man, North Carolina. I wanted to go there so bad. I held off every school just waiting for them to offer. They never did. I waited so long, but I was happy every time we played them, though. Did pretty well, but Carolina for sure.
Ekpe, you have something in mind?
For me, it was one of the home schools, but then as I got older, I decided I wanted to get away from home and experience something different, and that led me to the University of Michigan.
Nick B on Instagram asks, if you could go back, and we'll ask Ekpe to start, if you could go back and give yourself advice in college, is there anything you would say, anything you would maybe want to do differently even?
Make sure you pick your own major. Don't be pressured into a lazy major. When people ask me whether I'd get a degree, and I always say basketball, because I chose general studies. You know, that doesn't really take you anywhere. I was fortunate, so I was able to go to the NBA, so I've been around different life experiences that have allowed me to grow. But when you go to college, make sure you pick a major that you would like and that is actually making money out here in the streets.
Donovan, I know you're working on finishing your degree. Why do that at this point? You're obviously well-to-do.
For me, I promised my mom. You know, I didn't realize the significance of school until I almost didn't qualify in high school. I think for me, going on what Ekpe said, don't just do what everybody else does. I think that's where he's getting at it, because, you know, challenge yourself. I took extra classes in summer school. I was always the last one in the classroom, or at least my sophomore year I was. Challenge yourself. You know, for me, I promised my mother I was going to get a degree. I'm a few classes ahead than where I would have been if I had taken just regular classes. So just challenge yourself in any way that you can.
Why don't we take one from our audience? Does anyone have a question they would like to ask these guys?
Got two over there.
Donovan, you want to pick?
The gray sweatshirt.
Yep. Questions: how do you build confidence offensively in basketball?
Shoot. No, honestly, like I think, you know, just if you believe in yourself, I think that's the biggest thing. And there are times where it's tough. There are times where I was told not to shoot the ball. Like, you know, just you look at a guy like, and it's obviously, I mean, it's easy to say, look at Kobe Bryant, but, you know, I don't know if you remember when he played the Utah Jazz, he shot 3 straight air balls in the playoff game and got made fun of for that. You know, and to him to take that and come back being the player he was, that takes a whole lot of confidence. So just believe in yourself. You know, don't let anyone, you know, tell you what you can't do. And if they tell you you can't do it, find ways to prove them wrong. Be in the gym. Be the first one in the gym, the last one to leave, because confidence goes a long way.
We'll take one more, maybe? Ekpe, you want to pick? Is there anybody out there?
My man back here, what's going on?
What do you guys do to prepare for games?
For practices like take today, I talk noise. I like to talk noise to the first squad, whoever I'm going against, and that just gets the competitive juices flowing.
We beat them today, just so you know.
Yeah, they had a good day today. You know, they needed today actually. But for games, I just go through the warm-ups. You know, we have our warm-ups, and I'm a podcast guy, so I can listen to a podcast before the game and then get ready. But then I still talk noise to my guys, you know, just to make sure that they're ready to go.
Let's go back to our questions we got from Instagram and Twitter. This is from Tyler F. For both of you, what inspired you to be a basketball player? And then I guess I would ask as a follow-up, is there any responsibility that comes with that at this point?
The second one's a good one.
You want to go first?
I mean, you got it.
What inspired me? I was going to be a baseball player. I had that set in stone in my head. My dad worked for the Mets. Been around baseball my whole life. And then I broke my wrist in 10th grade, and I just stopped. I got to know just stopped playing baseball and just kept playing basketball. So that's what really kept me going to play basketball. And there are a lot of responsibilities. Case in point, how many of y'all tweet? Use Twitter and Instagram. How many of y'all, and y'all, if y'all want to answer, it's all right. How many of y'all curse when y'all tweet?
Okay, you a real one. Okay.
It's every little thing. Like y'all know the Rookie of the Year race last year and all the little things. Like if I like a photo, it's on Bleacher Report. If that goes for all of us. Like if we comment on anything, we can't. Like we're under such a small microscope, and that's just the responsibility we have with it. That's not just with me, with Ekpe. It's with Ekpe's mom, dad, friends, family. Like they're representation of who you are. So if I'm with my best friend nonstop, and then like Lee, look at we talked about it today, the Jimmy Butler trade. You looked at what Andrew Wiggins, his brother, tweeted hallelujah that he was thinking about leaving. They're not going to ask his brother about it. They're going to ask Jimmy about it. So there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it for sure.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's the responsibility of being a role model, and being given this platform that you can decide which way you want to go, political, social issues, but being aware and understanding what's actually going on. So when you are posed with that question or you want to do your own campaign, you're able to give accurate information. One of my campaigns that I want to start is get off of social media and have face-to-face conversations with people. That's big, especially as you continue to get older. And read books. Join Ekpe's book club.
Why don't you tell people, we're streaming right now, why don't you tell them how to get involved with Ekpe's book club?
Let them know.
Well, this is a great plug, y'all. Looking to the camera. Hello, my name is Ekpe Udoh. I play for the Utah Jazz. I have a book club called Ekpe's Book Club using the hashtag. We usually discuss once a week. I send out books. I'll pick the book, asking my followers. Then I'll send out books, send out a schedule, and we have conversations all over social media. And that's my way of building a community outside of basketball. This Friday, I'm having my first authors talks where I'm bringing in an author from my previous book just to have a conversation with the community.
One take.
That was perfect.
We do have a question from Nathan C. on Twitter. This is for Donovan specifically. Donovan, do you have any book recommendations for Ekpe's book club?
Ooh. I got a few, but they're all sports books. I like Heat by Mike Lupica.
Okay, Heat.
Yeah,
No, I have not.
That's my favorite one. It's about a kid, I should say, came from Cuba illegally, wanted to play baseball, starts to do well. Then they start to find out that he's not from the U.S. and it's kind of holding him back. So
if I do choose this book, will you join the discussion?
I will definitely be there.
Got you.
Anders L on Instagram just wants to know how old you both were when you first dunked.
I think I was 13. I was able to dunk because of my height. I'm not going to lie.
Was that 8th grade, 9th grade?
About 8, 9, 14.
Summer going into 8th grade was mine, so I don't know what age that is. 12, 13, yeah, so about the same. I didn't dunk the whole 8th grade year though, but one time in the summer.
That's weird.
And was it on film? Is this something you were building up to?
Definitely not on film, that one. So I could be lying. But I have a picture of my first in-game though, so that's real.
From Instagram, Buyani asks, what's the toughest drill for you? I know Quinn Snyder has some tough practices. What are some of the toughest drills that you guys have to go through?
We're professionals now. It's not something that's difficult. I think just being in there and competing is all I look forward to. The drills, that's what comes with the job. With like the teachers here, they have drills, but it's what they do. They love what they do. So I think it just comes with it.
He's been in the league a few years, so that's the right answer. I hate running. I hate it, and that's the one thing I hate. But like you said, it's part of the job. Like, you know, you can't run away from, like that's what separates good and great. You know, good ones kind of stop. Like if I wanted to be just good, I'd stop it. You know, running around. But you know, you got to understand that to be great, you look the best ones are in shape, are in the best shape. So, comes with it.
Let's ask slam dunk champ, elite defender. If you guys meet at the rim, who wins?
He knows this answer. Let's not do this right now.
I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Ed.
Do we have any more questions from the audience here? I saw this gentleman here was already working on his like cardigan pull down. He looked pro.
I like it. Yeah. Let him know.
My name's Samson. Just representing the boys basketball team here at West. We're wondering if you would be able later on in the season when it starts, if you could show up at one of our games, check us out.
Oh, that's a definite. I'll be there for sure. For sure.
We go. One more in the back.
Y'all got it. I promise, as long as we don't have a back-to-back or anything crazy, I promise you, I'll be there. I got
you. From Tanner T on Instagram, I want to know who's your hometown hero, or maybe a childhood hero. Who did you look up to when you were growing up?
I have a few. Basketball-wise, I would probably say LeBron was a big one that I looked up to, not just for what he did on the floor, you know, what he's done in the community, the way, like, you know, a lot of it. I grew up when he was the hated LeBron, you know, like that kind of LeBron. So for him to be able to take a lot and put a lot on his shoulders was really what stood out to me, you know, because not a lot of guys want that pressure. You know, want that role, but he took it head on, so it was really impressive to me. And David Wright, who plays for the Mets, he just recently retired. He's someone that I've known personally for a very long time, and he kind of taught me about routines, eating right. I didn't listen to him until this year, but like little things like that really did help me mature for sure.
You were at the decision, right?
I was at the decision.
These kids might not know.
That was right down the street from my house too, so it's pretty special. I almost got hit in the head with a bottle. Knicks fans weren't too happy, but it was fun.
Ekpe, any childhood heroes for you?
I would say Hakeem Olajuwon because he's Nigerian as well. I'm Nigerian, so it just showed that somebody of that background could come to the States and make it to the highest level. So that's who I was always looking up to.
How about now? Are there people in your life that inspire you today?
I find inspiration like every daily for me. I'm older, and like I said, I love to read. But one of my inspirations is probably Malcolm X. If you get a chance, you should read his book, The Autobiography of Malcolm X by Alex Haley.
He reads a lot, in case you haven't known.
Yeah,
he reads a lot.
I love to read, but you know, you just see stuff that goes on in today's world. Like you'll have what LeBron's doing with his school and institute. You will have just, you know, maybe seeing my parents. That'll get me going. Seeing Donovan and how he's starting to take it to the next level. That just whatever I find during the day, you know, gets me going.
Yeah, you mentioned parents. Obviously, your mother is a teacher.
Big time. You know, without her,
it's about to get real. Come on.
Without her, you know, none of this is possible. Obviously, I went to Louisville, and she would drive 14 hours just to see me play, then drive right back in the same night. There's a lot that she did for me, and so for me to be able to give her all of this is a blessing. Her and my sister have been there for me nonstop. So to this day, you know, I'd do anything for those two for sure.
From Miriam M on Instagram, if you weren't playing basketball, what would you be doing? I think you may have already alluded to this.
For sure, and if not, I'd be a firefighter. That's my thing. I love fire trucks.
Really?
Yeah, no.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love fire trucks.
I don't know what to be honest with you, it wasn't really a plan B. It was,
I don't know.
I'm sorry, you know, it is what it is, you know, you grew up, you know, just everybody has their own story, but for me it was like you got to make it. And, you know, you can still go overseas, which I've been overseas to play basketball and still live a good life. But for me, you got to make it. Like, you got to put it in. Unless God decides to humble you and, you know, you can't play the sport anymore. But until then, you gotta go. And now, you know, I'm able to take care of my family and generations down the line.
18-year-old Ekpe, didn't see yourself farming? You're doing some
No,
farming now.
I didn't see none of that. I was out here, you know, living. I didn't see any of that. Grateful, though.
Connor S. on Instagram wants to know, basic, what's your favorite food?
Sweet potatoes. Anybody like sweet potatoes? Anybody? No? All right, cool. Yeah, sweet potatoes. Boston Market sweet potatoes, anything. I love it.
For me right now, it's either sushi or some type of jerk chicken. Jamaican jerk chicken.
Is it? Are there? I guess what's your go-to meal during the season then? Can you eat sweet potatoes throughout the season?
It used to be with Chris every night. So I'll give you all a little background to that. So I played at Louisville. Coach P took us to Ruth Chris before every time we played a big game. So being drafted, you have a little bit more money now, so you go to Ruth Chris every night. I don't know if you remember the first, 12 games of the season. I was not playing well at all. Y'all want to know what really changed is I stopped eating at Ruth Chris every night.
This event is not sponsored by Ruth Chris.
But no, just healthy grilled chicken, pasta. It's been a complete change from
This
last
is
year.
great. I mean, this is great because y'all don't really understand. Like, he's really a fat boy. Y'all don't really understand the growth right now. This is great to see, though.
Were you in his ear about this early on in the season? Or?
I was 220 last year.
Listen, he was just going. You know, I mean, he loves breakfast. Look at him. He lights up at breakfast.
Gotta have my 4 or 5 pancakes, 5 scrambled eggs, my 4 pieces of bacon. Then I can carry on my day. Then steak at night. So
this is before practice.
he's not kidding either. Like, this is real deal. So I've gotten it down to 2 pancakes, 2 eggs, no steak. Well, steak once a week. I used to have 2 packs of gummy bears every day. Cut that out. Man, sometimes Skittles if they didn't have gummy bears. You know the gas station right at the street right there? Yeah, I used to go there and get the 2 packs, but sometimes they didn't have them, so I switch them out. Gatorade, a lot of Gatorade. So it was a lot.
Does anyone on the team eat more than you? Who's the biggest eater?
Well, now it's not me anymore. It used to be me. I don't know who.
Probably. I'm up there. But, you know, we're laughing and joking about this stuff, but then at the same time, it just shows the growth mentally that he's gone through in this past year. From, you know, not knowing and still being able to compete at a high level to now really taking it serious and going to take his game to another level just by doing that. So, I mean, y'all can take that from that as well.
It's hard. It's not easy trying to stop. Like, it's not, and I say that it's one of the hardest things I've ever done. Trying to manage your weight and whatnot and play at a high level is a lot.
From Spencer S. on Instagram, what's the hardest thing, Ekpe, that you've had to make it through to get where you are today?
Probably having to go overseas to play basketball after my 5th year. That was really a low point in my career. Going from playing in the NBA to having to go overseas where it's more commercial flights. You have roommates, you're sleeping in the Euro twin beds, so you're falling off. Being away from family, you know, they're not able to come out as often. But it was also the best time of my life as well. Because once I was able to get comfortable and look in the mirror and accept where I was, it took me to another level.
Defensive Player of the Year in Europe, the whole Euro League.
We saw inside the shoes you wore the other night. Tyler B. on Instagram wants to know, how do you try to stay humble despite the success you've had earlier in your career?
I think for me, and I think Ekpe would say the same, like, you can, like he said, God always finds ways to humble you. And, you know, when I broke my wrist my 10th grade year, that really hit home to me, like this can be gone any second, you know. From the guys we saw out there practicing football to you guys playing basketball, like understand, like, just because y'all make the varsity team, whatever it may be, like, that ain't it. Like, you know, this could be gone in a second. So if you appreciate every second you're on the floor, you play your hardest, you play as if, like, you have nothing to lose. You realize how much better you get mentally. You know, a lot of it for me is I work my hardest when nobody's around, you know, and that's easy for you to work hard when coach is around for tryouts and you try to make the team. But if you're not willing to run the same speed for a sprint with nobody around, then when you are when coach is around, like that separates it. You know, I've seen guys who are 10 times better than me, who have become relaxed because of social media, because they have made a Ballast life tape. And, you know, to this day, Ep and I will sit and have talks like, man, this person got drafted here. Man, this person's here. Man, he's out the league. You know, like, there's so many guys who you hear about, like, that are gone because they became relaxed and became comfortable. And just being comfortable you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, if that makes sense.
And then the last question is for both of you, from Nick A on Instagram. Did you always have this sort of positive mindset, or is it something that took work and training to build that up?
It takes work, you know, still evolving, you know, the evolution of who you are as an individual. Because some days, man, you may not want to work. You may be down on yourself. Because in the NBA, 82 game season, playoffs, whatever, and you may not be in the rotation. So you have to find, you have to find that energy to stay with it and continue to encourage guys. So, I mean, it's just, you just got to continue to work at it. And you have to be comfortable with yourself. And then you can do whatever you want to.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, really appreciate the time. Everyone watching online at Facebook and UtahJazz.com, thank you. And to everyone here at West High, give yourself another round of applause. You guys are We'll do more Utah Jazz Live.